Hi there, guys. What I'd like to do today is just sort of create this sort of cool, sort of modern style look, and we're going to be using something called displacement maps, and that way we can map a texture to the sort of forms of an image. It's kind of cool, and we're all going to do that using an image, of course, and a pattern. So let's get into it, and this is my starting point. And what I'm going to do firstly, I'm just going to duplicate that layer because it's always very common sense to duplicate your starting point. And what I want to do to this is just firstly, I want to blur this out in quite a significant fashion. So I'm going to blur that, and I'm going to go ahead and just give it some Gaussian blur. And I'm really going to pump that blur up quite a lot, as you can see there. Okay, so that's good. That will help the effect to be a little bit more smooth. So just somewhere where you feel that's good. Okay, now I'm also going to need to really push the contrast of this, and I'm just going to use levels to do so. Really want to get some contrast into my image, so I'm just squeezing this like so. Okay, that looks pretty reasonable, and this is trial and error. How much you do might be up to you. Okay, now what I need to do now is I need to save this file, and I need to put it somewhere on my computer. I'm going to call this map. This is what we'll need to call it. I'm going to call it map. Photoshop document. Just going to throw that onto my desktop. Map. Okay, beautiful. All right, now I'm actually going to delete that layer, and I should get back to my starting point once again. I might even duplicate that. What I'm going to need to do now is put a pattern or a texture over the top that I'd like to use as my map, and I'm going to use an adjustment layer to do so. Pattern. Now, of course, any pattern or sort of image potentially may work, but I want to use a line. I just want to use this sort of line thing to give me that geometrical look I'm after. And this is, again, a personal choice how big and what sort of pattern you make, but I'm going to make mine kind of big there. Just, yeah, something along those lines. Yep, we could probably go with that. Fantastic. All right, so I'm probably not going to need this mask, so I'm going to delete that. And I may even rasterize this layer. So I'm going to flatten that adjustment layer so that it's just my pixels. Beautiful. All right, well done. Okay, so from here I need to apply this distortion to the pattern fill. So I'm going to use the distort feature, and I'm going to use displacement. Distort and displace. We're going to be clicking this, and it's going to say, well, how much do you want to distort or displace? Now, these numbers, I've only sort of estimated what that might be, and you might want to come back and change these, but I'm going to say okay, right, like that. And it's going to say, hey, what do you want to map to? Now, this is the file that I saved earlier. There's my map, and I'm going to say open. And then this sort of happens. So you can see I get this distortion effect that is applied to my pattern. Now, potentially not really fond of that, so I might even go again, try this distortion again, displace, and you can increase that. So maybe I want it to be a little bit more. There's my map. And that sort of increases that overall effect. Now from here, really, you're going to be playing with various blending modes to achieve what it is you want. Maybe I might want to play with a particular blending mode. And again, this is all personal choice. I think I'm going to go with overlay for now. And I'm really going to crank up this background sort of image here. I'm really going to put some, really want to sort of zhuzh this colour up a little bit. So I might jump into hue saturation, really just pump that colour to really emphasise what I'm doing here. Really want to make this thing look cool and funky. And there we go, that's essentially the piece. And then of course you can play with your various blending modes again to see what sort of look it is you're trying to achieve. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that for now. So that's the displacement map, and it's rather a cool effect, and you can remove the background from the part of the image. So if you wanted to remove potentially parts of the image, of course you can do that. So you can highlight that part of the image if you needed to, take out a piece of that, and you can sort of get some rather cool effects. Okay guys, that's just a short little tutorial. Good luck with that one guys. I'll see you all in the lesson.